Hey, it's been a while. Through this time, a lot has happened. The rBreach revamp, otherwise known as Exodus 23, has seen a few developments and progress since my last official teaser and now. It was a game that promised to be a breakthrough of its genre, a new vision for the SCP round-based style, setting the scene and exploring concepts no other game ever had. With that, there have been many questions, and many people left in the dark over time. So, why did the project go on hiatus? Where did the owner go? Will it ever release? Time and time again, I have been asked this far too much. Admittedly, the only reason I've posted this so late is because these are still questions I get to this day. The truth is, I don't have a conclusive answer. Although, as someone who was involved heavily in the community, its development, and many conversations with the game owner Ancient, I have what I know and what I can speculate. While I talk, I'll be posting leaks of the game that I still have. It's not much, but it's the least I can provide to show off what could have been. Let's talk about the developers. Over time, rBreach has had its influx of multiple developers. Some would come and go with no issues, but for those who weren't explicitly removed, there was a focal issue with working on the revamp. A lack of communication between Ancient and his developers would leave them dissatisfied with the work ethic, as development would continue to be much more shaky, especially during moments where communication is necessary to complete certain parts of the game. This was never atypical with Ancient, as he had lapses in which he would not respond or remember to respond to important messages regarding his game. More on that later. It was this behavior in which the cracks would begin to show. Soon after, developers such as Neon Lips and DICE would leave the team during their own respective intervals because of this difficulty in struggling to get work done. Separately, another developer by the name of Axel Nosferatu had been banned from the rBreach Discord server after actively breaking the server rules multiple times, either by the use of slurs or toxicity. Although they weren't barred from working on development, they became irrationally upset and had decided to project this onto Ancient. Their case was made worse by the real-life situation in which they did not have a safe environment to live in. Inevitably, this developer would also be called out for multiple grooming allegations, in which they were fully cut off from the community. Soon after, only one developer aside from Ancient would remain. Hostile, who was mainly disconnected from the main flow of the work and especially the revamp. The reasoning behind this is unclear, but they were marked as a miscellaneous developer, which may contribute as to why. It was not long before Ancient would be on his own for working on the rest of the revamp. Ancient himself has always been shrouded in mystery and obscurity. There is not a single point where Ancient could reliably be working on the revamp. This was proven by his incessant lapses in communication over time, mostly resorting to crude methods to work on the game. At some points, he wouldn't even have access to a functional laptop. Sometimes, he wouldn't even have stable internet. At the time, he was in massive financial debt by college and was struggling to keep himself afloat. This, combined with the fact that the developers were also getting upset at his inactivity, led his unfortunate situation to only spiral. He mentioned that his work on rBreach started as a passion to get away from the issues he had in real life. rBreach would soon spiral into its own cycle of drama. Whether it be his developers or prominent community figures causing problems, he would be stressed out. This and the building hype of the revamp led to him being more stressed out than the issues he previously had. Soon after, he would remark about how much he'd prefer working a low-end job simply to get away from everything. Ancient would also acknowledge a lot of the communication issues he had, pinning himself as the person to blame, as he felt guilty for many of the ongoing problems. He remarks that he does not think he is responsible for his ownership position and suggests to the staff to find somewhere else to go. Perhaps this was an indication to his disappearance being premeditated. Over time, he would stop being as proactive in terms of communication, and by early September 2021, he would officially go radio silent. I'll end this section off with my final interaction with him. Suffice to say, wherever he is now, he has been a genuine role model for me and many others. With the developers out of the picture, Ancient gone radio silent and endowed in his own countless issues, what followed after are the allegations of one of Ancient's real-life friends and secondary owner, Xerxos, who was outed for being a predator in an expose Google document. Although Xerxos wouldn't actually be cut out for explicitly grooming anyone, he was proven to have made many remarks on exploitation and nudity of children. Hell broke loose in the server, and shortly after led to the deletion of the rBreach server itself. After that point, the rBreach revamp was officially cancelled. But would the game really live up to its hype? I was given dev access to the game at some point and had seen many of the ins and outs of the process. From my experience, the gunplay, although decent, was rather stiff and buggy at times. Inventory handling was janky. Most of the starting teams would be cut out, and round handling was incomplete. Although, at the time things were looking up, it was perhaps the countless amount of issues with the game itself that would demotivate Ancient further. Unfortunately, 50% of the guns at some point had been removed, and roles were more generalized for the sake of convenience. A bad choice, considering that much of rBreach's charm had been because of its massive pools of weapons and niche teams. Of course, a work in progress in no way does the game justice, but these issues persisted for months on end before hiatus. Perhaps one of the biggest factors of Ancient giving up on the game was the fact that he thought the game was a scam, something that would never live up to expectations, simply a lazy effort to scrap together a game. Maybe he was right. So what now? Well, let rBreach rest. There are plenty of other round-based SCP games out there, and a couple in particular that I've been given the honor of being able to watch their progress. rBreach will always hold a special place for me, yet is a testament to how steep of a hole development hell really is, as many of these developers' talents would never grow into fruition. In spite of all of this, I'll be covering more other upcoming SCP projects here, so I'd recommend keeping your heads up. Ancient, if you are watching this video, I really hope to see a day where we can witness your talents and creativity flourish again. Thank you for everything. Godspeed, rBreach.